Hey, what's up, my friend? Welcome back to Project Unchained. I'm excited and grateful for you to join me today. I have what I think is some literal gold for you. The past couple of videos, we talked about people-pleasing tendencies, the nice guy mentality, and how they kind of intersect and are very similar, and what some of the roots are, like where those behaviors and tendencies tend to be created and where they boil up from. Because they create massive limitations on our life, and that's why we're here. We want to break free from those limitations that don't need to exist in our life at all anymore. And one of the things that I ended with in the roots of people-pleasing tendencies was this idea that it really kind of boils up and stems from being a coping mechanism, and it is a self-rejection. It's an expression of our lack of acceptance in and of ourselves. And that can get created from all kinds of different ways, but the key is to be able to create and cultivate self-acceptance. When we do that, that's when we can break free from some of those tendencies, that nice guy role. We can still be nice, but we don't fall into that nice guy definition where we're giving ourselves away and we're doing and participating in actions that are dishonor. And now we can get into what is the path forward? How do we continue forward with that, creating, cultivating self-acceptance, and what does that really look like? It's paved with authenticity. Authenticity is the key. That is the gold. That is the thing we need the most in our lives and the expression of our lives. The definition of authentic is being actual and being what is claimed. The way that I look at that and consider that from like a personal expression standpoint of authenticity and what does it mean to be authentic. And it's you're expressing yourself in the truest form, in an authentic form, in a way that is honoring of yourself and your well-being. See, when we lack authenticity, that is dishonored action. We're not honoring the things that are true to ourselves. To kind of share a little bit of what that looks like, I want to share a bit of some of my personal experiences with you. When I first moved up to Alaska in 2007 after I graduated college, I was in a pretty lonely state. I didn't really know anybody up there. I had been working a lot, and the whole years prior to that, I also struggled very much so romantically. When I had this opportunity and I met this woman, we started to date, and I wanted that. I wanted a romantic relationship, and my loneliness expressed itself there. As a result of that, I participated in a lot of people-pleasing tendencies, a lot of the nice guy role. I gave myself away. I said yes when I meant no. I said no when I meant yes. I allowed myself to get walked all over and treated very poorly. And at the end of the day, it was a toxic relationship. And toxic in that both of us were bringing our hurt to the table, and it was just an expression of both of our hurts. And they ended up mixing in a way that caused a lot of unnecessary pain and suffering for everybody involved. What was interesting, on reflection anyway for me, was towards the end of that relationship, I was having some very serious and very significant anxiety. I went to the doctor. They prescribed me some anti-anxiety medication. That did absolutely nothing for me. I was still operating in the same level of anxiety. I was walking on eggshells. I didn't know what I was gonna do that was gonna send the next fight off. I thought it was all my fault. I was constantly trying to make a peace at this war, so to speak. And I had a lot of anxiety as a result. What I realized when it finally came to an end and I stopped the relationship, I broke it off, like, I can't continue with this anymore. It's not healthy for a whole lot of reasons. It was literally that day that I broke it off, that I looked at that bottle of medicine and I was like, you know what? I don't need this anymore. And I threw it in the garbage, and I've never needed it a single day since then. On reflection, and looking at and learning from life experiences, I realized that my anxiety was the manifestation and the feelings of my continued dishonored action. Around every corner, my choices, my behaviors, everything was dishonoring to myself and who I am. And in all honesty, I also didn't really know what that meant. I didn't know who I was. I was just wandering aimlessly through life. I didn't define myself. I let other people define me. And that's part of that nice guy role. And it was just very lonely. And it's, again, important to realize that being alone and being lonely are two very different things. And at that time, I didn't know it. I thought being alone was what contributed to my loneliness. And I was tired of that loneliness. And I talk about that in the Limitations of Loneliness. Check that video out. We can be very lonely and not be alone. When we are operating from that place of lacking authenticity, we are going to contribute to a lot of loneliness within our soul every single time. Lacking authenticity, when your actions and your words don't have the authenticity, it's dishonored action. And you're gonna feel that in your soul, in your being, whether it be through loneliness, sadness, anxiety, all those different kinds of feelings. That dishonored action is going to fuel those kinds of feelings. Those feelings are there to say, hey, stop it. Stop doing this to myself. They're there to guide you. And I was ignoring that for far too long. And when I stopped ignoring that and I started to create actions that cultivated and respected and cared for my authenticity, that stuff just melted away. And that's why the path forward is paved with authenticity. To be free, to be as free as the bird soaring through the air, we must be authentic. We must express ourselves authentically. That is really important, that we're able to cultivate that and do that. Another reason why that authenticity is so important is because trust requires authenticity to exist. There is no trust without that authentic action. When we choose to do things from that people-pleasing tendency, when we do it because we're trying to win their affection, not because we want to, but because we're trying to win them, that's manipulation. You can't trust a person if they're operating from a place of manipulation. And that holds true whether it's a romantic relationship or just a friendship or family, wherever it is, and within ourselves. We lose trust within ourselves when we contribute to our lives and our experiences with dishonored action. If we think about it from a relationship standpoint, right? Like, trust is the foundation, it is the bedrock of having a high-level relationship. That holds true with yourself as well. In order to have that trust with ourselves, we have to be operating authentic. We have to be operating in a place that honors ourselves and cultivates the trust and self-acceptance, and they all kind of roll into each other, right? We have to learn to accept ourselves to be able to display our authenticity. We have to be able to display our authenticity and able to accept ourselves and have trust. And they go hand in hand. We can't have one without the other. They are a cohesive unit. We need them together. When we don't have that and we, again, have that lack of authenticity, the thing to realize is the cost is you or me. If I'm operating in a place that is not honoring of myself, the cost is me. Whether it be my physical well-being, my mental well-being, my spiritual well-being, my emotional well-being, it comes at a cost of my well-being in some regard. That we can't accept that. We cannot accept that. We cannot continue to operate from a place of accepting that as how we operate. We have to be able to connect with our authenticity, connect with what our beliefs and our values, things of that are, what our core beliefs are too, like what are the hell no's, what are the heck yeses, like what are they? We have to write them out, we have to define them so that we can be aware of them and express ourselves in our most authentic manner. What's important is, again, connecting to that authenticity, expressing that authenticity, and holding space for other people to express their authenticity so we can contribute to that as a whole in our community. That makes such a massive difference in the quality of all of our experiences. So the thing I want to leave you all with today is, as you walk forward and you're trying to understand if this is what you're doing, walking the path of authenticity, just along the way through the day, asking yourself and being aware of the question is, what I'm doing, is this choice honoring of my well-being? Is this choice honoring what I want to do, be, and create? Is this choice honoring of who I am? That question and those questions and asking ourselves that helps bring that awareness about so that we can make those authentic choices and move forward on that path. And it's free and it's beautiful. Is going from that space of being entrenched in that people-pleasing behavior to realizing it, to choosing to go the path of authenticity and no longer giving yourself away. Asking yourself those questions is what allows you to choose the path of authenticity. And man, it's a beautiful place. And what's really, really super important that everybody out there listening gets and understands, you have that capacity within you. You have that ability within you. You can do that. You can bring the awareness to that point of choice and choose different. I promise you, it takes some effort, it takes some work, but it's 100% worth every bit of that effort. I promise you. It is an experience to feel and embody. It is one of those things that you cannot describe with the use of English language. You just have to experience it. And I want you to do that. Does this action honor my well-being? Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Please join me next time. Reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you. Let's get unchained.